Siege of Shadowdale is the first part in a trilogy of modules done by Luke Skull, who went on to have the last part of the trilogy upscaled and made into a premium add-on module from Being Dogs themselves. You guys may have heard about it. It's called Tyrants of the Moonsea. Needless to say, I had high expectations walking in to play this. I'll leave a link down below in case you want the opportunity to check it out yourself. In this mod, you start as a level 1 character and can export over to the other parts of the trilogies to keep that continuity, since they are all basically designed to follow the course of one main character. Playthrough says that it's around 4 to 6 hours, and I feel that I kind of leaned heavy towards the 7-hour mark before completing it. By the end of the mod, your character should also be around level 7. Now, before I go too far into this review, remember, if you like this style of content, to give a thumbs up and subscribe, but let's go ahead and dive in. So the premise is pretty simple. It's in the title. You're plucked down in the middle of Shadowdale, or quite literally, you're placed there, as the introduction is non-existent. Someone pointed out in the forums that this may have been a placeholder for a trailer introduction. If one existed, I couldn't find a source, I couldn't find the trailer. There could actually be one out there. But it doesn't take long to get a sense of bearing, as stumbling around the merchant shops eventually leads you to the tavern, where you get actually your first chance to start questing, as the barkeep has a job. Also, the beginning encounters are fairly straightforward, low-level hero stuff, killing goblins and whatnot, so it's kind of easy to sink into the rhythm of this module itself. The crutch of the leveling does come down to progressing the story and completing quests. Also, I thought it important to note before we go too far down this rabbit hole that I selected a rogue to play. It's actually recommended not to play a rogue, but I kind of wanted a little bit of a challenge, and I'm happy to report that while there were some sticking points to playing the offbeat class, the gear progression felt fair, and if I had any kind of issues, it just came down to finding the vendor to help flesh out some of those weak spots. By the end, I was also exploiting a lot of the large group encounters by using like a cheesy line of sight baiting, and you know what? It worked. I could definitely see how mages and bards could have a hard time in this module just because of the encounter ratio and size, so you might want to keep that in mind. Some of the best parts of this playthrough actually came down to meeting and rubbing shoulders with some of those iconic Forgotten Realm heroes. If you're familiar with the lore even a little bit, then this will feel just fine, and sometimes the heroes do take on the lion's share of the work, and you're just along for the ride. The interwoven lore and writing is top notch. While there wasn't a lot of opportunity to change interactions with the NPCs or roleplay it out, the story moved forward at a nice enough clip. Also, the side quests are really spot on and help to keep that ball rolling. I would say some of the weakest spots in this module in particular is that it feels a little bare bones and hollow. The tile sets just didn't feel very elaborate. Some of that can be chalked up to the age and time of the module created itself, as I believe that this is some of Luke's earliest works, and I hear nothing but good things moving forward past this. Also, the selection of music, though, was really well placed for the most part and definitely worth a listen. What's important about Siege of Shadowfall is that it lays a foundation that is interesting to follow, with some quirky twists and turns to get to the end and set up to where this trilogy will go to next. Now, I'll be following up the rest of this trilogy and then venturing into the premium module in the future to give you my thoughts on those as well. As always, I strive to keep the spoilers to a bare minimum in these reviews, as a lot of the joy comes down to playing the modules themselves. But that's it for this one. I'll see you on the next one. Later.